Hello everyone, this is Mancy once again, and it is now 10:09 p.m. and I'm about to review the next Batman movie, which I'm going to review one more for right now, then later on I will let you know when I'm going to review the Schumacher films. And of course, as a recap, I reviewed the first Batman film, which is a classic, and love this movie, love the score, the visuals of Gotham City, Tim Burton's direction, the cast, you have Nicholson and Keaton, the action scenes, and say no more, but it's a timeless classic movie, and I love Batman very much. And now that Batman's finally a big hit, Tim Burton, of course, will go into direct Edward Scissorhands, but of course, Warner Brothers was wondering if Burton would direct, of course, the sequel, which I'm going to talk about, Batman Returns, with Tim Burton returning as director, and Michael Keaton returning as Bruce Wayne Batman for one last time, which I'll get to. But of course, you have Danny DeVito as the Penguin, and the sexy Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Gotta say that. With Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, and Danny Elfman returning doing the score, and Tim Burton again doing as director. And John Peter are now reduced as executive producers, but not producers from the first film. Especially, of course, maybe Tim Burton wanted to keep him away from it after his experience with that film because he was forced to put the Prince songs in it. Well, Michael Jackson was going to do some songs for that movie, him and Prince. So yeah, it would have been matching if both Prince and Michael Jackson both did it, but they sell for Prince. But Tim Burton just says that my films are not like Top Gun, which is why that he didn't want to do the same thing with this. But of course, he actually was able to put one song in the film for this one. That'll be Sushi and the Banshees, Face to Face. But again, I really have no issues with the Prince songs, which I'm totally fine with. They don't bother me. But of course, my favorite is still Scandalous. Scandalous. But anyway, how this film came to be. Well, like I said, Tim Burton was making Edward Scissorhands, but he wasn't sure about directing the second one due to his experience with the first film. Like, look, I've done what I can. I just want to move on to something else, unless there's something new and fresh at all. But Warner Brothers are like, here's a thought. What if this film was more like a Tim Burton movie? So they pretty much given him creative control, and that's what you can tell is Tim Burton putting his fingerprints right all over it for his. Especially, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. To me, when you look at this movie, it has that film noir aspect, especially trying to be like a crime movie, but also make a comic film. And while this is a Tim Burton movie, it is like this, but at least this is more like a comic Batman film. But this one here, this is Tim Burton on steroids. Where it is a Batman movie, but it doesn't have the same Batman feel as this one, which is why I prefer this kind of Batman. I mean, I really enjoy this, I really do, but this is the Batman I prefer that Tim Burton should be doing if he's sick with this. But this one, I'll say more about, which I get to. So yeah, it's really Tim Burton on steroids for this film. And while Keaton was back on board as Batman, they were searching for actresses for the role of Catwoman, such as Annette Bening, Sigourney Weaver, and Gina Davis, and one of course was Sean Young. Until they settled with Michelle Pfeiffer, because Annette Bening was pregnant at the time, so she had to be let go. And when Pfeiffer won the role, she had to learn kickboxing as well as how to use a whip. And another thing about it, saying I need to add to it, that when this film was around before Kim Basinger was about to be cast, they were searching for actresses for the role of Vicky Vale, and one was like Sean Young and then Michelle Pfeiffer. But Pfeiffer didn't want to do this film because she was in a relationship with Michael Keaton. And Sean Young, she had like a little accident when she was like on her horse and all that, with her ankle broken, I believe. And of course, when it came to this one, Kim Basinger was going to audition for the role of Catwoman, but didn't do it, especially. It would be weird when she's playing a different role since she was Vicky Vale in the first movie. So Kim Basinger didn't do this film. And Sean Young tried to audition for it, but I think I heard of Tim Burton, of course, that had to get away from it because Sean Young desperately wanted to play this role. She wanted to play Catwoman so badly, but sadly, not love for Sean Young. But hey, Nicole Kidman did try auditioning for this role for Catwoman, but didn't get it. But of course, in 1992, she had to do Far and Away. But of course, she'll be in a Batman film, which will be Batman Forever, which I'll get to. And of course, even when this film was being made as well, which I never mentioned, as in both of these, Tim Burton was never sure about including the character of Robin in it, which they tried to put him in this film, but they're like, nah, let's just be more true to the 30s Batman before he even had a sidekick. If they were to cast Robin in this film, it would have been like River Phoenix who would have played Robin. But this one, of course, they were thinking like Mark Wayne to play Robin. Maybe like a mechanic or something. But the filmmaker decided they decided to save that for the third film. And of course, the film premiered on June 16, but had a premiere on June 19, 1992, which, like the first film here, it received criticism for being too dark, but did get positive reviews. But sadly, it wasn't as successful as the first movie because it grossed like $162.9 million at the box office against its $80 million budget. And of course, this is where the complaints come in. This film had tie-in with McDonald's. And I remember having a McDonald's Batman toy, which is like the Batman that shoot stuff out of it when you press a button, if you remember that. But McDonald's pretty much canceled on it because it wasn't really a kids movie due to the parents' complaint for its dark nature. And the film still was able to earn 2 Oscar nominations for makeup and visual effects, but the visual effects were given to Des Concert, and the makeup was given to Francis Ford Coppola's movie Bram Stoker's Dracula. And for Danny DeVito here, he was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actor for his portrayal of the Penguin, but he was given the Tom Selleck for his performance in Christopher Reeve, The Discovery. And of course, yeah, this will be the last Batman film for Daniel doing the score, which of course he'll bring that scene back for Justice League and Michael Keaton playing Batman and Tim Burton directing, which of course we enter the Joel Schumacher era. But the character Catwoman, of course, will get her own movie, except this time played by Halle Berry, which of course ended up becoming one of the worst comic movies of all time. Which, I might review that movie. I might. But anyway, about this film, I really like it, although I don't love it as much as this. But as time goes on, it does start to grow on me a bit. And I guess to start with it, well, I do appreciate for this film being its own movie, especially what Tim Burton want to make for this kind of Batman film. I really respect that, but I wish it was more like the first movie that has that comic book feel to it, rather than just being Tim Burton on steroids. But hey, that's just me. But in any event, I still accept it for what it is, and appreciate it for its own merits. And the Look of Gotham City, this time no anti-furs because he sadly committed suicide, but instead they got Bo Welch to the Look of Gotham City. Not the same, but nevertheless, it still looks pretty good, and the visual still looks great. Sadly, it feels like a world that doesn't exist, but you wish it does. And the actors in the chorus are good, but although I like the first one better. And the music by The Elephant, which I like, but just not as much as the first one. But for what it is, it sounds really good. But again, this is Tim Burton on steroids, because still following with this whole Edward Scissorhands vibe, because this one feels like a follow-up to Edward Scissorhands, if you can tell by tones and visuals. But nevertheless, I do like the music that Dan has ever done. And the casting's great. Michael Keaton is still an excellent Batman, still an excellent Bruce Wayne. I really appreciate what he did with the role. And Danny DeVito is pretty good. I will admit, as a kid, he actually did give me nightmares a lot. Which, of course, I find him more scarier than the Joker. But although sometimes Joker can be scary, which I do have one weird dream about the Joker that gave me nightmares. But mostly I get more nightmares out of this one. But with that said, about nightmares, he's good, but just not a worthy follow-up to the Joker, which I prefer, because I like the Joker more than the Penguin. But he's good. But the best one, in my opinion, is Catwoman, and Michelle Pfeiffer is fantastic. Sure, she's nothing like the comics, but for what she did in the role, she was great. And there's some lines I quoted too. Especially, I know one, which I love in Batman Returns, where Batman and Catwoman had a fight on the roof, and then Batman just, BAM! How could you? I'm a woman. Oh, I'm sorry. It just makes me laugh. You could tell she's having a blast with this role. And the movie, I will admit, it is too dark than the first movie, but if they were to tone it down a little bit, and maybe parents will not complain about the films, and maybe Burton would have come back to direct the third movie, then maybe, just maybe, we would have gotten a trilogy, or how many Batman films that Tim Burton's gonna make. But if this wasn't the last one, then Burton would have made another one, and people would have been happy. But nope. Parents complained it's too dark, and Burton was booted out of the franchise, and we entered Joel Schumacher. But yeah, I would have at least toned down the movie a little bit. And the story itself, it's very well serviceable for what it is, where it's just Penguin, who's pretty much one of the outcasts. He tried to enter society, but people start turning against him toward the end. And Christopher Walken, of course, is actually pretty good as Smasher. I mean, that's Christopher Walken. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, and it does go by a pretty good pace too. I really enjoy it. So, but yeah, I really don't know what I can say about this film, but I know many fans out there say this is the best Batman film in their opinion, which I disagree. For a Tim Burton film, I prefer this over this. But I'm not saying this is bad. I really enjoyed the movie, but I just like the first one more. So my only criticism is I missed the film noir aspect, like the first movie that has a comic feel, but I still appreciate it for Timber being more of his own thing, and then I thought he still did a good job directing the sequel for what he can do with it to make it more like the way how he would have envisioned it. And the movie itself is too dark, I will admit about that, but you know, Batman's supposed to be a dark superhero, not the happy-go-lucky hero like the 60s show. But no, all you're concerned about is those daggum toys because you think Batman is a kid-friendly superhero, which he's not. And 3, well, Penguin's a really good villain, but I like the Joker better. But the best one is Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, it's a pretty fine story. Actions are good, but like the first one better. Great visuals, great performances, especially from Michael Keaton. Really good music, but like Danielle was better. But yeah, Batman Returns, it's a worthy sequel to the first movie. It's not as good, but I don't think it's as bad as most people want it to be. I did like it when I first saw it as a kid, but as time went on, I appreciate it a bit more for what it was trying to do, for its ambitious quality to the movie. And yes, I do like the song Face to Face, which it definitely fits the Catwoman scene. And yes, there's also Kobo as well, especially this. I haven't been fed all day. Eat floor. High fiber. Hey, Steph, I thought we had something together. We do. You're fired. Oh, Bruce Wayne, why you dressed up like Batman? Because he is Batman, you moron. Was. Well, come away. Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne. Merry Christmas, Alfred. Goodwill Torment. And Woman. Especially, of course, even when that film, man, it kind of leaves you this feeling that you feel like this is the last time you're ever going to see Burton and Keaton do another bad movie. But yeah, I do miss two of those guys making a bad movie, because I love Tim Burton, I love Michael Keaton. But of course, they don't come back until they make Dumbo, which I've not seen. But I do remember in an interview, they said, like if they were talking about a comeback, and Keaton says, oh, we're thinking about him. I mean, hey, since they got that Joker movie in the works, which is coming out this week on October 4th, since they're going to make these DC films, they're going to be more like its own universe and not be frankly like the DC Cinema Universe. It's called DC Black Cinema Universe or whatever it's called. You could ask Tim Burton about Keaton to come back. I mean, I think you can. You could just treat like the Schumacher films don't existed, and then you have a direct follow of the first two movies, and it'll be more like, I would say, like Tim Burton's own version of Dark Knight Returns, where like Batman's been gone for so long, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman's been gone for so long, and later on they come out, and then of course you have maybe the Riddler and then Two-Face, and then of course, boom, there you go, you have the Bat Burton trilogy. So, I would say, Warner Brothers, have Michael Keaton and Tim Burton do one more Batman film, and then you have the Bat Burton trilogy, which I like to call it. And oh yes, I gotta say this, the picture quality is great, it sounds great, but I'm still not being on this cover, which I prefer, which of course I do like this cover better, which is the Bat Cinema except with snow. Or more like get it out. Like this cover. But of course, Batman and Robin do get the same bat channel for the 4K HD Blu-rays, which I'm not so sure about getting them, but maybe I might. But anyway, gotta wrap this up here. So I'll say it or I say it again. I do love the music, but I like the first one better. The tone of the movie, I will admit, is too dark, but I actually think that's what Batman should be. But if you tone it down a bit, there would be any complaints with this film at all, like what parents said about this movie. Saying, oh, it's so dark, it's so violent. The actions are pretty good, I like the first one better. The performances are great for Keaton, DeVito, and Pfeiffer. And Tim Burton's direction is really good, and the story itself is good for what it is, especially for its ambitious quality to it. It's not as good as the first movie, but I don't think it's as bad as most people make it out to be. The first one to me is an A+, but each time I watch it, it starts to grow on me a little bit. So for right now on, I think Batman Returns itself, I will say, it really does get a B+. It's not as good as the first movie, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. So yeah, each time I watch it, it gets better. It does leave you with a sad feeling that this is the last time that both Burton and Keaton will work on a Batman movie, but I would love to see them come back to do another one. And then once they make that film, then that's the Bat Burton trilogy. At least just do one more Batman film, Tim Burton and Michael Keaton. Warner Brothers, give those guys another chance and make them do one more Batman film, and then that'll be it. So yeah, those are my reviews of Batman Returns, and that's the end of the Tim Burton era. And now we're about to enter the Joel Schumacher era, where he gave us the Bat credit card, Batman on Ice Skate, the Ice Buns, Tommy Joe, Jim Carrey go over the top, replacing one Batman actor to another, Robin being a whiner, and try to get more poppier and campier. And yes, of course, you gotta put nipples on the bat suit. Will I get these other two in 4K Blu-ray? I don't know, but we'll see. So anyway, what do you think of this video? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. Feel free to put your comments down below, and don't forget the subscribe button. So thank you for watching, take care, and I will be back to review more Batman films with the Schumacher era. Thank you, and good night. See ya.